The day began like any other on Earth, with people going about their daily lives completely unaware that a fleet of alien warships was approaching their planet. The Barzan Empire, a vast and powerful civilization that spanned multiple star systems, had set its sights on Earth. Gru, the overlord of the Barzan Star Empire, had openly mocked the primitive humans, considering them weak and pathetic, announcing to the galaxy that these apes could barely leave their own star system. Their crude chemical rockets were no match for the Barzan's ion drives and warp engines. Gru's confidence was bolstered by the fact that the Barzan had never encountered a species that could challenge them. Their technology was thousands of years beyond anything humans could dream of building. Barzan ships could cross the galaxy in mere days, shielded by impenetrable energy fields and armed with devastatingly powerful plasma cannons and antimatter torpedoes. In contrast, humans puttered about their home system in flimsy, slow spacecraft that were completely vulnerable and outmatched. Yet the humans had a secret weapon, one that the arrogant Barzan never expected, the USS Phantom. Earth's first stealth ship, the Phantom was equipped with a cloaking device that rendered it completely invisible to all sensors. Captained by the legendary naval hero Bobby Wright, the Phantom's mission was to sneak deep into Barzan space and conduct vital reconnaissance on their fleet capabilities to give humanity a fighting chance. As the Phantom approached the Barzan armada, the crew gasped at the sight before them. Thousands of gigantic alien warships bristled with weapons, a terrifying display of the Barzan's immense military might. Bobby gulped as he realized just how badly outclassed the human race was. Their entire fleet would be vaporized in seconds by this unstoppable alien armada. Engaging the cloaking field, Bobby piloted the Phantom right into the heart of the Barzan fleet. The human ship appeared as nothing but empty space to their sensors, silently gliding between the hulking alien battle cruisers. So close that the crew could see the ugly reptilian faces of the Barzan crew through their viewports, sophisticated scanners probed the alien vessels, recording everything about their capabilities and technology for analysis. Suddenly, alarm klaxons blared on the Phantom's bridge. A Barzan patrol ship was heading right for them on a collision course. Bobby's heart pounded as he watched the alien ship grow larger on the view screen until it filled the entire display. The patrol ship missed them by a scant few meters as it passed by overhead. That was way too close, the cloak had barely held. Cold sweat poured down Bobby's face as he realized this mission wasn't going to be a cakewalk. Even the tiniest mistake would reveal them to the Barzan and spell certain doom for humanity. But Bobby knew he had to press on and complete the mission no matter what. Because as he listened in on the arrogant boasts and chatter of the Barzan commanders, he learned the horrible truth. The Barzan were planning a full-scale invasion of Earth. They intended to bombard humanity's homeworld from orbit, land their armies, and enslave the population. Trillions of humans would suffer a fate worse than death under the merciless boot heel of Barzan oppression. The survival of the human race now depended on the Phantom's crew. They had to find any weaknesses to exploit in the Barzan's terrifying technologies and fleet, because stealth recon was just the first phase of the desperate plan. The real battle for Earth's freedom was about to begin, as humanity prepared to fight with every dirty trick they could muster against a vastly superior foe. The price of failure was no less than the extinction of humankind. Bobby clenched his teeth as he listened to the intercepted Barzan communication. The bastards had found a human colony on some backwater planet and were planning to enslave it as a practice run for their invasion of Earth. "Not on my watch," Bobby growled. He turned to his crew. "Listen up! We've got innocent civilians in the crosshairs. We need to act fast and hit the Barzan where it hurts. I've got a plan." Bobby outlined his daring scheme to infiltrate the Barzan command ship and upload a virus to sabotage their fleet. It was a long shot, but it was the only way to buy time for the colony and Earth. Leaving the Phantom hidden in the shadow of an asteroid, Bobby and his hand-picked team of Marines activated their personal cloaking devices, shimmering out of visibility. They silently glided through the void of space toward the looming bulk of the Barzan dreadnought, the cloaking fields bending light around them perfectly. The team slipped aboard the alien ship through an airlock, stealthily creeping through the dim corridors. Strange reptilian writing covered the walls, and the recycled air reeked of a musky alien stench. They wound their way deeper into the vessel, guided by the schematics Bobby had studied intently. "Hold up," Bobby whispered, holding up a fist. He peered around a corner at a pair of hulking Barzan guards standing in front of a reinforced hatch. "There's the entrance to the computer core. Davis, hit them with an EMP and let's go." Private Davis primed an electromagnetic pulse grenade and rolled it toward the guards. A blinding flash lit up the corridor as arcs of electricity crackled across the Barzan's bodies, sending them crumpling to the deck. The team hurried into the computer chamber and got to work on the consoles. Corporal Chen sliced into the Barzan systems while the rest watched the doors, weapons ready. "Okay, uploading the virus now," Chen said, fingers flying over the alien controls. "Almost got it. I just need to bypass this last firewall and hold it right there," a booming voice rang out. Commander Zark strode into the room, a squad of elite troopers at his back. The humans whirled around in surprise, instinctively raising their rifles. "Did you apes really think you could sabotage us so easily?" Zark sneered, his reptilian eyes narrowing. "I'll give you one chance to surrender before I splatter your primitive brains across the walls." "Go to hell," Bobby spat. He squeezed his trigger and all hell broke loose. Plasma bolts and bullets crisscrossed the room in a deadly light show. Consoles sparked and exploded in showers of debris. Bobby and his men dived for cover, trading shots with the Barzan elites. Zark fired his plasma rifle at Bobby, the searing beam missing him by inches. Bobby rolled and came up firing, dropping 2 Barzans with well-aimed bursts. The humans were hopelessly outgunned, the Barzan's weapons tearing through their cover without difficulty. But Bobby and his men were the finest soldiers Earth had to offer. They knew how to fight smart. They used the tight confines of the room to their advantage, whittling down the aliens one by one with superior tactics and marksmanship. Bobby and Zark soon found themselves face to face, guns empty. They circled each other warily, fists raised. "You humans are so pathetic," Zark hissed. "What chance do you possibly have against the might of the Barzan Star Empire?" "We'll never stop fighting," Bobby shouted. "Not as long as humans draw breath." The 2 elite warriors clashed in a vicious melee, punches and kicks flying in a blur. Zark was stronger and faster, his blows hitting like a sledgehammer, but Bobby was tougher and craftier, turning the lizard's strength against him. He weathered the storm of attacks and retaliated with precise strikes to the aliens' vulnerable spots. After a desperate struggle, Bobby saw his opening. He launched a feint at Zark's head, then swept the Barzan's legs as the commander fell for it. Zark toppled and Bobby pounced on him, locking in a chokehold. The lizard thrashed like a wild animal, but Bobby held on with all his strength until Zark finally went limp in his arms. "Commander down!" Bobby yelled. "Chen, finish the upload!" "Got it. Virus is in their systems. Let's get the hell out of here," Chen called out. The battered survivors of the strike team raced out of the computer core and back to the airlock, alarms blaring all around them. They barely made it back to the Phantom before Barzan security teams swarmed their previous location. As the Phantom rocketed away, the human crew watched the Barzan fleet dissolve into anarchy on their screens. Ships spun out of control, smashing into each other. Weapon systems shut down, leaving them defenseless. Squadrons of fighters drifted aimlessly, their navigational systems knocked out. The fleet was in total chaos, the invasion averted. The bridge erupted into raucous cheers. They had done it. Against all challenges, the tiny band of humans had struck a devastating blow to the Barzan war machine. Bobby slumped back in his command chair, exhausted but victorious. The battle was a long way from over, he knew. The Barzans would be enraged by this setback. They would retaliate against Earth swiftly. But he also knew this mission had proven something, that for all their advanced technology and apparent superiority, the Barzans were not invincible. Humanity would never give up, never stop resisting, no matter how outmatched they appeared. What they lacked in sophistication, they made up for in guts, smarts, and sheer tenacity. Azard's arrogance had been their undoing. They had underestimated humanity, and now they would pay the price. The Phantom's journey back to Earth was fraught with tension. The crew remained on high alert, knowing that the Barzan would be hunting them. Every blip on the radar, every unexplained signal sent a jolt of anxiety through the bridge. But the ship's advanced stealth systems held, and they managed to slip through the Barzan net undetected. When they finally reached Earth's orbit, The crew let out a collective sigh of relief. The planet, a beautiful blue and green jewel hanging in the vastness of space, had never looked so welcoming. But there was no time for rest. Bobby knew that the Barzan would soon launch their full-scale invasion, and Earth needed to be ready. As the Phantom docked with the orbital station, Bobby and his team were greeted as heroes. Crowds gathered to welcome them back, cheering and waving as the crew disembarked. But the celebration was short-lived. Bobby quickly made his way to the United Earth Defense Council, where he presented the intelligence they had gathered. The council members leaned forward, their faces growing pale as they viewed the holographic displays of Barzan technology. "As you can see," Bobby said, gesturing to a massive Barzan warship, "their capabilities far exceed our own. Their plasma cannons alone could vaporize our entire fleet in minutes." The council chamber erupted into worried murmurs. Admiral Chen, a grizzled veteran with a stern face, banged his hand on the table. "How are we supposed to fight this? We might as well be throwing rocks at them." "Not necessarily," Bobby replied. "We have one advantage: they underestimate us. We can use that." The council deliberated for hours before reaching a decision. They appointed Bobby as the commander of Earth's new space defense fleet, tasking him with rapidly developing countermeasures against the Barzan threat. Bobby wasted no time. He immediately sought out Dr. Eliza Hoffman, Earth's foremost expert in theoretical physics and engineering. "Dr. Hoffman, I need your help," Bobby said as he entered her lab. "We need to turn this Barzan intel into real weapons and defenses. Fast." Eliza's eyes lit up as she pored over the data. "Fascinating. They're shield harmonics. If we could find a way to disrupt them—" "Bobby, I think I have an idea." For weeks, Bobby and Eliza worked tirelessly. New ship designs emerged from their collaboration. Sleek vessels equipped with energy weapons reverse-engineered from Barzan tech, improved shields and stealth systems. Earth's orbital shipyards worked around the clock, churning out the new fleet. But even as humanity's defenses grew, reports came in of Barzan attacks on outlying colonies. "They're probing our defenses," Bobby growled, studying a tactical display. "GRU is gearing up for a full invasion." The first major clash came at Alpha Centauri. A Barzan battle group jumped into the system, intent on crushing the human presence there. But Bobby was ready. "All ships, engage stealth systems," he ordered from the bridge of the Phantom. "Strike teams, prepare for boarding actions. Hit them hard and fade away before they can respond." The battle raged for hours. Human ships struck from the shadows, their energy beams slicing through Barzan shields. Marines in stealth suits infiltrated Barzan vessels, sabotaging systems from within. But the Barzans adapted quickly. Their superior numbers began to tell, pushing back the human forces. Bobby watched in anguish as the colony fell, its defenders overwhelmed. More colonies followed: New Eden, Teddy, Prune. One by one, Earth's outposts fell to the Barzan onslaught. GRU's smug face appeared on view screens across human space. "Pathetic apes," he sneered. "Your pitiful resistance only delays the inevitable. Surrender now, and perhaps I'll be merciful." Bobby clenched his fists as he watched the broadcast. He turned to his crew, tenacity etched on his face. "We're not beaten yet. I have a plan. We're going to hit GRU where he lives." He outlined his audacious scheme, using the Phantom to penetrate deep into Barzan territory and strike at GRU's command ship directly. "It's risky as hell," Eliza warned. "If you're detected, then we fail, and humanity falls," Bobby finished. "But if we succeed, we might just turn this war around." As the Phantom prepared to depart on its perilous mission, Bobby addressed his crew. "I won't lie to you, our odds aren't good, but Earth is counting on us. We're all that stands between humanity and extinction. Are you with me?" The crew's response was unanimous. They would follow Bobby into hell itself if that's what it took to save Earth. The Phantom vanished into stealth as it set course for the heart of the Barzan Empire. Bobby gripped the arms of his command chair, acutely aware of the weight of humanity's fate resting on his shoulders. One way or another, the fate of two civilizations would be decided by what happened next. The USS Phantom glided silently through the void, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to Barzan sensors. Bobby stood on the bridge, hands clasped behind his back as he watched countless enemy ships pass by on the console. Another patrol coming up on our port side, sir, the tactical officer whispered. Bobby nodded. Adjust course. Nice and easy. The ship's engines hummed softly as it maneuvered around the Barzan vessels. For weeks, they crept deeper into enemy space, dodging patrols and slipping past defense platforms. Finally, they reached their target. The massive Barzan flagship, Alpha Prime, loomed before them, surrounded by a swarm of support ships. My God, someone on the bridge breathed. Look at the size of that thing. Bobby's eyes hardened. All right, people, this is it. Strike team, with me. The rest of you know what to do. In the shuttle bay, Bobby addressed his hand-picked squad. Once we're aboard, we split up. Kovacs, you take your team to engineering. The rest are with me. Stay sharp and stick to the plan. The shuttle detached from the Phantom, its own stealth systems engaged. They weaved through the Barzan fleet, the jamming tech masking their approach. Suddenly, alarms blared. We've been detected, the pilot shouted. Multiple fighters incoming. Plasma bolts streaked past as Barzan fighters swarmed them. The shuttle rocked violently from near misses. Evasive maneuvers, Bobby ordered. Get us to the Alpha Prime! More hits rocked the shuttle, sparks flying from damaged consoles. We're not going to make it, someone yelled. Like hell we aren't, Bobby growled. He grabbed the controls, pushing the engines past their limits. The hull groaned in protest as he threw the shuttle into a wild corkscrew. They smashed through the Alpha Prime's shields just as the engines gave out. Bobby's team leapt from the crippled shuttle, activating their personal cloaks. Move! Bobby hissed. They raced through the corridors, narrowly avoiding Barzan security teams responding to the alert. At a junction, Bobby nodded to Kovacs. Good luck, Lieutenant. See you at the rendezvous point. Kovacs saluted. You too, sir. Bobby led his squad deeper into the ship. They encountered heavy resistance, exchanging fire with Barzan troops in several firefights. We need a distraction, Bobby said as they took cover from enemy fire. He pulled out a handful of explosives. Plant these along the bulkheads. We'll blow them as we go. The explosions bought them precious time. They fought their way to the weapons control center, leaving chaos in their wake. Meanwhile, Kovacs' team battled through engineering. Barzan energy weapons lit up the cramped space as they slowly advanced. Cover me! Kovacs shouted. She sprinted to a control panel, plugging in the virus as her squad laid down suppressing fire. Alarms blared throughout the ship. On the bridge, Gru roared in fury. Find those humans and kill them! Bobby's team finished sabotaging the weapons as Kovacs' virus took hold. Systems failed across the ship. Shield generators powered down. Weapons went offline. Time to go, Bobby said. They fought their way back through the corridors, pursued by Gru's elite guards. At the rendezvous point, Bobby found Kovacs pinned down by enemy fire. He tossed a grenade, giving her team an opening to join them. There! Kovacs pointed to a Barzan shuttle. Our ticket out of here! They piled in, Bobby taking the controls. The shuttle blasted out of the hangar bay as the Phantom decloaked, guns blazing to clear a path. All hands prepare for hyperspace jump, Bobby ordered as they docked with the Phantom. The ship vanished in a flash of light just as the regrouping Barzan fleet opened fire. Bobby allowed himself a small smile. They'd pulled it off. Now the real war could begin. The Phantom emerged from hyperspace, battered but triumphant. As they approached Earth, cheers erupted across the communication channels. Bobby's crew had struck a blow against the heart of the Barzan Empire and lived to tell the tale. Earth's orbital stations gleamed in the sunlight as the Phantom docked. Bobby and his team stepped onto the space elevator, descending to a hero's welcome. Crowds thronged the streets, waving flags and chanting their names. We did it! Chen exclaimed, grinning as they waved to the masses. But Bobby's smile faded as he caught sight of Dr. Hoffman's grim expression. She pushed through the crowd, tablet in hand, her face tight with tension. Bobby, we have a problem, she said, her voice barely audible over the din of the celebration. Bobby's heart sank as he followed her to a secure command room, away from the noise of the jubilant crowds. The moment they were alone, Eliza activated her tablet, projecting a holographic display of the Barzan system. We've intercepted communications from the Barzan Empire. Gru isn't taking this loss lying down. He's mobilizing a second, even larger fleet, one that makes the armada we just faced look like a scouting party. Bobby stared at the display, the magnitude of the threat sinking in. The Barzan Empire was vast, and losing a battle wasn't enough to deter them. In fact, it had only made them more determined to crush humanity. "How long do we have?" he asked, his voice laced with urgency. "Not long," Eliza replied, her fingers dancing across the controls to zoom in on a section of the fleet. "They're building something big, bigger than anything we've seen before. Our analysts believe it's a planet killer, designed to wipe out Earth in a single strike." Bobby felt a chill run down his spine. A weapon of that magnitude could end the war before it even began. "We need to hit them first," he said, the resolve in his voice hardening. "Take out that weapon before it's completed." Eliza nodded. "We've already begun analyzing potential weaknesses in its design. It's heavily shielded, but if we can get close enough, there might be a way to overload its power core." Bobby's mind raced as he considered their options. They had just returned from a grueling mission, and his crew was exhausted, but there was no time to rest. The survival of Earth depended on their ability to strike fast and hard. "We'll need to gather every available ship," he said. "This is an all-or-nothing operation." For the next few days, Bobby and Eliza worked around the clock, coordinating with Earth's remaining military forces and rallying support from the colonies that had survived the initial onslaught. The orbital shipyards were pushed to their limits, churning out new vessels equipped with the latest reverse-engineered Barzan technology. Engineers worked tirelessly, modifying existing ships to carry the heavy payloads needed to breach the planet killer's defenses. As preparations reached their final stages, Bobby addressed his crew and the assembled fleet via a live broadcast. His voice, though tired, carried the weight of a leader who understood the gravity of the situation. "This is it," he began, his image projected onto every screen in the fleet. "We've fought hard, and we've struck a blow against the Barzan Empire that they'll never forget. But now we face our greatest challenge. The Barzan are coming with a weapon that could destroy everything we hold dear. Our homes, our families, our entire world. They think they can break us, that they can crush our spirit. But they're wrong. We're going to show them that humanity doesn't kneel. We fight. We fight for our survival, for our future, for Earth. This is our last stand, and we will not go quietly." The speech was met with a chorus of cheers and rallying cries from every corner of the fleet. The sense of unity was palpable, every soldier, pilot, and engineer feeling the weight of the moment. They were the last line of defense, and they were ready to lay down their lives if it meant saving Earth. The fleet, now bolstered by reinforcements and armed with the new technologies, set course for the Barzan system. The journey through hyperspace was tense, every crew member acutely aware that they were heading into what could be the final battle for humanity's survival. Bobby spent the time going over battle plans with his officers, fine-tuning strategies, and ensuring that every possible contingency was covered. As they neared the Barzan system, the fleet dropped out of hyperspace, the massive planet killer coming into view. It was a colossal structure, dwarfing even the largest of the Barzan warships, with a weapon array that spanned kilometers. The sight of it made even the most seasoned soldiers on Bobby's ship pause, but there was no turning back. "Remember the plan," Bobby's voice echoed across the bridge. "We hit them fast and hard. Take out the support ships first, then focus all firepower on the planet killer. We have one shot at this, and we have to make it count." The fleet moved into position, stealth systems engaged as they approached the outer perimeter of the Barzan defenses. The tension on the bridge was thick, the crew's focus razor-sharp as they waited for the signal to attack. Bobby watched the tactical display, every muscle in his body coiled with anticipation. "On my mark," he ordered, his eyes fixed on the massive construct ahead. 3, 2, 1, engage! The fleet erupted into action. Ships decloaked, unleashing a barrage of firepower on the unsuspecting Barzan defenses. Explosions rippled through space as the human forces tore through the outer line, their superior tactics and the element of surprise giving them an early advantage. But the Barzan were quick to respond. Within moments, waves of fighters and capital ships surged to meet the human fleet, the void of space filling with the deadly light of energy weapons. The battle was intense, the human fleet pushing forward with everything they had. Bobby's ship, the Phantom, led the charge, its advanced stealth and weaponry cutting a path through the enemy lines. But the closer they got to the planet killer, the fiercer the resistance became. Barzan warships moved to intercept them, and the space around the planet killer became a maelstrom of fire and destruction. "Eliza, status on that power core?" Bobby shouted over the din of battle. "We're close!" Eliza's voice crackled through the comms, the strain evident in her tone. "But we need more time. The core's heavily shielded, and we have to overload multiple systems simultaneously to create a chain reaction." "Time is something we don't have," Bobby muttered, his mind racing for a solution. "All ships, focus fire on those shields. We need to punch through!" The human fleet concentrated their firepower on the planet killer's shields, the combined might of their weapons creating a dazzling display of energy. The shields flickered, struggling to hold against the relentless assault. But the Barzan were determined to protect their ultimate weapon. More enemy ships surged into the fray, trying to push the human fleet back. As the battle raged on, the human forces began to take heavy losses. Ships were destroyed, their wreckage scattering across the battlefield. Bobby could feel the desperation growing among his crew, the realization that they might not make it sinking in. But he refused to give up. "We're breaking through!" Eliza's voice suddenly rang out, a note of triumph in her words. "The shields are down! We can trigger the overload!"